I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to say, major spoiler alert, we are going to be going over everything that happened in episode 6 and 7 of the final season of The Bad Batch. So if you haven't watched those episodes yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Disney Plus, check out both those episodes, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down not only episode 6, but episode 7, it's Johnny Rico!
Hello.
We got a two-parter!
We sure did, man. It was good.
Yeah! Finally, it felt like, like the initial kickoff of the season felt, where I wanted more and I got more.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was really good.
Yeah, we were talking about this. I said, why didn't they just push them both together? Because all we did was waste time watching the end credits and the beginning trailer stuff. I just get rid of that. I want to watch both together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I mean, look, if that's my biggest complaint about either episode, then I mean it's still solid. So, but just like you were saying, two really good episodes, and they flowed perfectly together, back to back, and we keep getting things that we want. Like, last episode we were like, we've seen everybody that we wanted to see except for Rex. Where's Rex? And boom, we get him in this episode. But I just have to say this. There's so many things to talk about, obviously, because, we're recapping 2 episodes in a row and stuff like that. But one thing I kept thinking about, both through towards the end of episode 6 and all of episode 7, is the Shadow Ops clone.
Mm-hmm.
Not the one that was captured, but the one that was trying to take out the one that was captured. And
right.
I don't know if he was supposed to be taking out Omega or if he was just doing a really bad job of not trying to kill Omega. But it just kind of reminded me of that episode of Always Sunny where Charlie keeps going, "Wild card, bitches! Wild card, bitches! I wanted so badly for the other clone troops to be calling him a wild card. I was hoping that he was gonna say the words that he was a loose cannon or a wild card or something, and I got so close to hearing those words. That's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah, but the Shadow Ops clone is that teammate you play with a game with that always goes up on the road and has to go and do crazy stuff, and you go what? I was just doing my thing.
Oh, you mean you?
Yeah,
when you're halfway across the map and you go, "Oh, I heard shooting."
I get things done.
Rico, we have no mobility. We're gonna be there in an hour. And you're
I'm attracted to shooting that way.
But anyway, there's so much to unpack from these 2 episodes. Rico, what were some of your initial impressions of episode 6 and 7?
Yeah, I really love this episode, both these episodes, really, because I just love the overall focus on clones as a whole, just because it's just really fun seeing a unit of clones working together and using their. First of all, shout out to D. Bradley Baker, who's the voice of all the clones. He's basically a one-man show going on basically most of these times. And the way he's able to give all these clones their own individuality is just something that's really awesome to see, watch as you hear him voice all these guys in different ways, and it's just really. It's really impressive when you think about it. That little, there's just one guy doing all these different clones, and it's just really fun to watch. But one of the other things I really did love about this episode was the beginning, the opening scene of this episode, where we had Senator Chuchi and Senator Singh meeting in this private meeting, being guarded by clones, and how they're talking about being old enemies during the Clone Wars, and that they come together to kind of unite against the Empire. Yeah. It felt very Andor-esque, which is something that we do see in scenes like Andor, which is it takes place after Bad Batch, but it's still handling on a lot of the same topics. People working kind of in a covert way to kind of make
in the shadows.
In the shadows. We see it with Mon Mothma a lot in Andor. So I just like how Star Wars brings that whole political part back into all their shows. Doesn't matter if it's animated or live action. Like that's just a really fun aspect to me that makes it a lot more intriguing to watch. And it's just really a really good way to bring back characters from the past. Again, I was saying how this whole season just feels like a love letter to the entire series as a whole, and that was just a great way to bring back characters that we saw in previous seasons.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I really did like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I was just going
Oh,
to
you're
agree
fine.
with you. Like, I feel like we're just repeating ourselves every single like open where we just say like we just keep getting more and more of what we want. Basically, they know what we want, and they just keep going. Okay, here you go. Here you go. And as I'll get into in other parts of this video, like I know bad stuff's coming. Like I keep getting worried every single time there's like a hint of it. But luckily so far that other shoe hasn't dropped. But Rico, you want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna kick off big takeaways by the only way I can, and that is to say, Rex, I blame you. Like, that's
Oh,
look. There's no sugarcoating it around here. The only reason these events all happened is because Rex and his team brought everybody to one place. Like, and you look in the beginning of the episode, Rex had some hesitation about bringing the Bad Batch together to where they were taking their prisoner. The other Shadow Op clone that they had. They were like, he was like, maybe this isn't the best idea, type of thing. And obviously his opinion got overruled, but still, I gotta feel like partial blame is on him. Like he should at least be able to go, my bad, guys. Like what's that plane ride like out after, that ship ride out after? Like I gotta imagine he turns over and goes, my bad. Like at least something. Like I mean, I gotta do what I do and make light of like the situation. I know we lost a ton of clones in that one
yeah, we
and
did.
stuff like that. But
Rest in peace, Nemec. Yeah.
yeah. But I have to look on the lighter side of things. Like I wanted like at least something going. My bad. But yeah, I just felt like there were two things that kind of just felt strange to me. One was obviously like why they know they're looking for Omega, so why bring the Bad Batch there? Like go to a different location, something like that, off or separate and bring the prisoner you have to your base, and then go and meet the Bad Batch somewhere else. That way they're separated. Why bring them to the person? Anyway, I digress. Also, I thought it was really strange that as soon as they get there, Echo goes, okay, bye. I'm going to take the only ship with a hyperdrive. Like, bye, everybody. I love this.
Yeah.
I love this series. But like, those were just two things that I was just like, really? Why? Like, but that's it. Like I said, loved both episodes. Love this series. But those just had me for a few minutes. I was just like, why is this happening? Why are we doing this? So anyway, Rico, what were some of your takeaways from episode 6 and 7?
I guess the real like kind of fatal choice for Rex in the end was when they decided to bring the Shadow Ops clone that they captured in the beginning back to their base, because that's ultimately was the decision. Like they didn't account for them having like a tracking beacon, and of course being them just sending out another like assassin to go and retrieve him, right? And then of course like he just happened to find Omega there, and he goes, wait, I gotta go out there and communicate that with the Empire. Like, oh, I found the Hemlock's primary target that like everybody's looking for.
But
right
they
now.
knew he was looking for after they decrypted the puck. Like they knew they were looking for Omega, and that was before they'd even called the Bad Batch. So like I think Rex should have just said like, okay, we have this guy in our custody. I'm gonna go with a couple of troops to wherever the Bad Batch is, and you guys take that guy back and interrogate him. Like, let's keep them separate. Like, why would you take Omega to the person that's obviously looking for her? You don't know why, but that person is looking for her.
Yeah, maybe. I would probably I would just not brought the Shadow Up back to our main spot to begin with, probably.
Yeah. But
avoid all
lines,
that.
Yeah, either way. Like if you brought the Bad Batch to your base, then don't bring the Shadow Ops guy to your base. Or if you bring the Shadow Ops guy to your base, don't bring the Bad Batch. Like that's my whole
But they
thing.
also were also needed in the same place, because that's why they called them there to begin with, because they needed Crosshairs intel on those people to begin with. So it kind of put them in that position in where they couldn't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but going into my takeaway a little bit here, I want to talk about the inclusion of Commander Wolf, which I thought was just awesome. I really love the end of the first episode where it's revealed that he's kind of leading the clone troops that's going to like
Mhm.
that was being called by the Shadow Wasp to be retrieving Omega. So I really like how they kind of like set that up for the second episode and everything that happens there. Especially the scene where Rex and you know his crew and then Commander Wolf and his crew have a like nice little standoff. Again, kind of similar to the shot they did of Crosshair and Hunter a couple episodes back. They
Yeah.
did like that kind of far away standoff shot with both crews, and it looked awesome. And it looked even cooler with Echo pulling up in the ship behind him and just kind of finishing off that like that ship versus ship vibe too.
Yeah.
But I really like that whole like thing where Rex just kind of gets through to him. It's a great way to foreshadow later on when we see Wolf again in Rebels and he's hanging out with Rex and Gregor on that droid. And yeah, so I'm just really it was really cool to just kind of see them plant the seeds for the character that we would see Wolf end up becoming in Rebels. But and not even necessarily getting the full turn. We just kind of yeah, like I said, like getting the seeds planted. Like he kind of just like tells them, hey, this is not what's going on here, and he's kind of left to like think about that for his own. Even like I'm surprised as all the rest of his troops like went along with it. They didn't go like you're a traitor. So I was just like maybe they kind of got into all their heads. So I was like yeah. So I really like this overall story that they're telling within the season when it comes to all the clones. Like actually, as much as it feels like a Bad Batch finale, it feels like this big wrap up for the clones as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, they're connecting the dots, just like you said, for stuff that's obviously taking place in the future, like past this series in general, type of
Mhm.
thing. So it's really cool that they can now lay that groundwork that they've already been, they eventually have to write to, but it's just cool. Like they're just they're planting these little seeds, and they go, "Hey, remember, Rebels takes place after this." Like like
Yeah, and
so,
they do some great nods to Clone Wars as well. Of course, when Rex and Wolf reunite for the first time, like I thought you were dead. We heard about the cruiser that fell, and goes, yeah, I lost a lot of great men that day. That's of course referring to the finale of Clone Wars, where they had all Ahsoka leaves all the helmets there, and we of course get that great shot at the end of the finale where Vader stumbles upon those helmets themselves. So yeah, I really love when they call back to certain moments of this. This is really like a massive love letter to Clone Wars too. I mean, it's in the name, Clone Wars. So like, the emphasis on the clones here is just a really nice little notch here.
yeah, really cool. You want to get to some predictions?
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, why don't you kick off predictions?
Okay, the overall big picture here, which I love that we're not really wasting any time too, is obviously like we're mounting this big attack on Tantus again and trying to free clones at the same time and defeating Hemlock. But I at the end of this episode, we were left with Hauser decides to stun the Shadow Op before he takes out Crosshair. And then he falls off the waterfall, and then of course we get like after they take off, we see him wake up and he's trying to use his ship commands, but it's not working. But so we don't know what his connection to the Empire is going to be from there, or what how he's going to be used later on in the season. But I can't imagine he's either going to be a problem, or if involved with this whole like liberating all the clones thing, if they're going to try to get through to him somehow. Like they took the electric capsule out of the one clone, which I thought was a neat little thing, because we always see like Empire
Yeah.
people biting down on those, kind of like the cyanide pill from like the Nazis and stuff like that. But like it's I really thought we actually got to see like the actual like device that they get to use, and like oh, it's a little electric capsule. So I'm like I think that's the first time I've ever seen them like kind of mention that, like just the actual device. And so I'm very curious to see how the whole thing's gonna wrap up with the big battle there, and how that Shadow Op is gonna play into the later in the season.
Yeah, and they did it perfectly. It was like a horror movie villain where like he reaches his hand out type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still alive. Like,
Oh my gosh. Crawling
but
out of the water like
yeah,
Jason. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm
Tough man to
interested.
kill.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what side he's gonna play after that. If he like kind of realizes kind of the same thing as Crosshair did, where it's like the Empire doesn't really give a shit about us. Like
Yeah.
so yeah, we could have that moment of clarity for him. That could have been his moment of clarity, I guess. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if he pops up again. That's really interesting. I didn't really think about that until you were talking about it. But what I wanted to talk about, kind of happens before that. And I was getting into I was teasing that or foreshadowing that at the beginning of this video, where for a second I was like, oh shit, are we gonna have one of those like heroic sacrifice moments? Because it really
for me, I thought like this suit.
really looked like it. It really looked like it for a second, where Crosshairs was gonna be at the end. Like it just I didn't want it, and I got real worried. We got right up to it, and this is like the second member of the Bad Batch in two, I guess 3 episodes, because we had 2 episodes in a row, where I was like, oh no, is he gonna do it? Because like we had Hunter doing it with the worm, where I really thought in that episode he was gonna be like, just leave me, get into the forfeit. Like I thought maybe that was gonna happen there too. So yeah, that for the rest of the season, I'm just gonna be like that. Anytime any of the members get separated from the entire Bad Batch crew to like, I'll take care of the distraction type of thing, I'm gonna be worried.
I really like the showdown between Crosshair and the Shadow Up clone as well, because it turned off into like a little sniper battle, and then as soon as they got close to combat, it got a little bit one-sided there at the end. But I really like how like it was a pretty nice little fight up until I was like, oh, this is actually like, I actually almost have been like, is this the kind of how he's gonna go out, where he's just kind of like going like toe to toe with this dude until one of them goes down. Like I was like, that's actually pretty dope if he does go out like that.
I honestly, the way I saw it, and just like you said, they looked so evenly matched. They were going toe to toe, back and forth, back and forth. I thought it was going to be like I'm taking you with me, like type of thing, where he was just going to pull him over the waterfall. Like I thought it was going to be something like that.
Right. Yeah. That's very something similar like that. Sort of remind me a little bit of like Logan when he's fighting the younger clone of himself. Right.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, this is pretty cool, because he was, like you said earlier, he was kind of like the prototype, I guess, for this program that they have. Like he was one of the first ones. So I was gonna kind of see him fighting like basically the younger or the more updated version of himself, was just like, ooh, this is pretty good, and then he just gets his ass whooped.
Yeah. But anyway, as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of episode 6 and 7? And where do you go from here? Where do we go from here? I can't wait. There are no wrong answers. This has been such an exciting season. I'm so excited to get to the next episode every time I finish the episodes. And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.